Well, it's time now for this Friday's Focus Report that takes us to an island that attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors every year and many young backpackers for its party scene. Thailand's Ko Phangan is also what inspired partly the best-selling novel The Beach for its pristine scenery. But with mass tourism and rapid development in the region has come increasing pollution. Now locals and NGOs are trying to tackle the issue, and at the recent United Nations Oceans Summit, Thailand as a whole vowed to take action. Our correspondent Clovis Kazali sends us this report with Charles Dupoisa.
Rather calm in the daytime, Ko Phangan's famous beaches and bars change when the sun goes down. They come from around the world to spend holidays on this island branded a hedonistic paradise. Most of these tourists have just graduated from high school or university, and they're on course for a night of dancing and alcohol-fueled partying. Far from their homes and families, they've all travelled to Thailand with the same idea in mind.
Just to have a good time, yeah, just to discover a new part of the world. Can't wait, yeah, loved every second of it so far.
It's talking to you, but you can't.
It's midnight, and they're heading to one of the most famous events on Ko Phangan, the Half Moon Party. This one takes place not on the beach, but in the jungle. Some appreciate the scenery more than others.
What makes this island charming is the mix between jungle and sea. That's the most beautiful part.
We spent like 2 hours putting up a beach because there's just an insane amount of trash and cigarette butts, and it's just disgusting, and it just builds up so much. And it's really important, I think, to clean it up. We love Thailand! Woo!
The island has seen waves of travellers for some 20 years now. Along with mass tourism, the use of plastic has grown significantly in Southeast Asia, and so has pollution. At the UN's Ocean Summit in June, Bangkok vowed to tackle the problem. It's part of a group of 5 Asian countries with China and Indonesia that accounts for 60% of plastic pollution in the world's oceans, according to experts. For Thailand alone, it's close to 3 million tons of garbage that found its way into the sea in 2016, 12% of which was plastic. Volunteers at NGO Trash Hero regularly take to the beach to collect garbage. An hour-long stroll on the sand, and they've filled up dozens of rubbish bags.
Basically, 4 kinds of materials. It's plastic, aluminium, glass, and paper.
And toothbrushes and flip-flops.
Ko Phangan's beaches suffer from the trash left by tourists, and the tides bring in more unwanted garbage.
Plastic, horrible
sheets of plastic.
The sea is without frontiers, right? And we have so many countries around the Gulf of Thailand also. I mean, just imagine all these big cities, all the coastline. Of course, it comes from everywhere.
The Thai government identified poor handling of plastic waste and inefficient waste management as 2 major factors of this pollution.
If you just pick up trash for 15 minutes, you already can make a change, and it's awesome that people realize that they understand it. Also, the Thai community gets more and more involved. They support us, and they are really, really happy that we do this stuff here.
But not all foreigners are as respectful of the environment and of the island's culture. The tourism sector is essential to Ko Phangan's economy, bringing flows of cash, meaning locals tend to turn a blind eye to the behaviour of some tourists.
They come to drink and drunk, and then they not care for the environment. They're just throwing things away. Like I was talking to someone in the van yesterday. I said, "What do you think about loud noise or everything party?" And they said, "If no party, no money. Who is going to come?" That's the mentality.
Local authorities have recently displayed recycling bins at Tongsala, the main market, and it's taking time to educate on the issue. The district mayor has come to inspect.
You can't throw it out like this. You got to put it in separate bags.
OK, I'll do it next time. But you know, I have so much rubbish, it just doesn't fit in the bags. That's why I have to throw it out like this. It's going to take a while to get used to. I'll take it step by step. But you know, I can't do it all by myself.
Ko Phangan has greatly changed since the days of the first backpackers in the 1980s that partly inspired the cult novel The Beach. Marissa Bright moved to the island 25 years ago, when it was a peaceful coconut grove, with no paved roads and little electricity. She now owns an eco-lodge.
We're on well water. We're using biodegradable straws, using biodegradable cleaning products, separating rubbish, recycling.
She took a green turn when she realised that as a foreigner on the island, she was part of the problem. She says she now wants to be part of the solution and has a clear message for visitors.
Treat this country the way that you would treat your own, and if we come from countries where we don't litter, so why come to their country and litter? It's really a matter of the tourists understanding, say no to plastic straws. Come and talk to the locals. It's not all about the party.
The airport project on Ko Phangan has just been suspended over accusations of forest encroachment. The population is more than ever looking to protect this unique environment that attracted tourists in the first place.
Well, for more on this, we can cross now to our guest, risk and tourism expert Meghani Morakabati. Hello, thank you for being with us on France 24. Now, as we've heard, this problem isn't new. Is Thailand serious about tackling it now, though?
Well, they have tried in the past. If you look, they have tried to close down some island in Andaman Sea. So they have taken action in the past.
And why is Asia the region most affected by this issue?
Well, I think part of that is the price, and part of that is the dependency to the tourism and the number of pristine beaches they have, which attract certain type of travel maker. That is part of it, but Asia is not the only place that is affected by that. If you look, they have problem in Mexico, in Ecuador, and in other places.
And are travellers the issue, or are locals also needing to be educated on this?
You're very right, it's a combination of both. I think it is down to individual, but also it is down to educating individual businesses and the local in terms of respecting the environment and taking care of the resources, the natural resources around.
Now, if financial considerations, as you were saying, for tourism, the attraction of tourism, etc., are creating the problem, isn't there a way to create a financial incentive to respect and recycle?
There is and there isn't. I think to answer your question, it's good to look at the main issue, and that is the dependency of the, let's say, place like Thailand to tourism. If you look at the numbers, they're telling you the story. The total contribution of tourism into Thailand GDP is around 20%. This is almost twice as much as it does in France. And in money terms, we are comparing something around 72 billion euro in Thailand to around 200 billion in France. So you can see the difference. So part of the solution will rely on the fact that reducing this dependency on tourism, hence economic diversification. But coming back to your question, again, part of this could be answered through changing the type of tourists they attract. So in terms of this party goer and young adults, I appreciate that. But in terms of, instead of bringing these guys who spend less money, you could change the product design in order to attract people who spend more.
And is an option perhaps also fining bad behaviour, or would that drive tourists away?
Well, they have done in the Asia. If you see this experience in Singapore, they do fine. So the fine is a way, but it will not tackle the whole issue, because one of the biggest issue is the number of tourists going there, and the more you have more problem. Effectively, we're dealing with the situation that you have one pair of shoes, and it is obviously the more you use it, the more it worn off. So finding is solution, but it's not the only solution.
Let's widen this up. What are the consequences of this ocean waste?
Well, if we look at the ecotourism and the ecosystem, we're talking about interaction with the biotic component of the natural environment, and the consequences is we are damaging the producer, and by producer I'm talking about, for example, let's look at the water, let's look at the sea, we're talking about consumer of this sort of thing, we're talking about fish, we're talking about local community who are living around there, and the small factors who do we term them as decomposer. And so by doing so much of waste, we are actually damaging all of these components, and with long-term consequences. And
we're talking about tackling it country by country, but are there enough global measures being taken to fight this kind of problem?
No, there are attempts, but you have heard with climate change in the past, there hasn't been enough, and there isn't enough, and that is very good point, because this issue is not, we can't tackle this at local level. This is a global level which needs to be dealt with a global policy on that one. So other than that, I think promoting the duty of care for so individuals do also care, as well as having a global policy for that.
Yegane Morokabati, thank you very much for having spoken to us here on France 24.